Welcome, future masters. Do I have a great lesson for you? Man, this guy was crazy. This guy was one of those pre-mover jerks. So he was moving super fast. But in the opening, I knew it at least as well as him, if not better. So these moves were blazing fast. But I know this. One of my specialties, actually. D6 is the obvious move. And this guy was like about 2100. But he was just blitzing out the moves, and it was like, I don't know what this guy's thinking. That's the old discovery attack on my bishop. We trade bishops. This is not new to me. None of this is new. This is all standard theory. Whoops. My mouse slipped. Don't ask me. Anyway. He goes there. Take. Now let's trade queens, you freak. So we got rid of that. I can't take E takes D, D takes E5 because bishop will take rook. So there's no problem. I just retreat and guard it. So I have two guardians of D6. He has two attackers. He took my rook. What do you want, a medal? Doesn't do anything to me. I'm not afraid of that garbage. Ooh, rook to F1. Well, so what? Eat this. Here's where the genius just thought the best move was that I would play would be C takes D. You know, I'm like, dude, I don't care about this. I'm going to go and, prevent your pieces from advancing. But he pre-moved this one like a genius. Hello. Knight takes knight. He was like, oh, heck. Well, too bad, dummy. So he's got this, blitz. He was some guy from Cuba. So, whatever, dude. First off, I'm blocking so that I can play rook to F8. And this guy, he's just blitzing moves. I'm like, okay, you go there, so what? Knight E7. Not threatening me. So what? Pawn. He's like, okay, pawn takes. I'm like, yeah, well, guess what? I'm not stupid. I'm not going to play pawn takes. I'm going to mess with your bishop. Your bishop is not going to dominate there. So he was like, okay, he went there. Now I recaptured. This guy is he is a cheap shot player. And I hate guys that are cheap shot players, and so I like beating them. So he's got his cheap shot. He's trying to corral my knight. But it isn't going to work because he's a cheap shot player. It's like, dude, I knew where he was going to go. It took him several more seconds than I thought. I already figured out rook F2 was his best move. So he played rook F2, and I'm like, dude, rook D8. You don't see it, but I do. Or if he sees it, he can't stop it. Tomato, tomato. Right, let's trade again. I'm only a knight ahead. So, he's rooks because he realizes he's screwed. Knight takes free pawn. How many pawns am I up now? 2 pawns and a knight. That's enough. But I'll take more if you give it to me. Everywhere he moves his bishop, I'm gonna jump all over this guy. Yeah, he finally resigned. But he used 33 seconds for the entire game. So this guy was one of those pre-move cheap shot guys. They're really annoying until you beat them, and then they really have nothing to say. So, just good chess moves, man. Look at this again. I know this like the back of my hand, so I was moving just as fast as him. I'm like, dude, you're not doing anything to me. I know all about this. D6. These are the correct moves. When you know your opening from practice, from playing this for 40 years. Oh, sorry. This is a variation of a Dutch defense that works like a Queen's Indian defense. And it kind of can transpose into a Queen's Indian as well. So, hey, you blitzed out however many moves this was, I don't know. And you have nothing to show for it. So, whatever, dude. To be honest, I could have just played d6 or queen h5. But in this defense, black plays a lot of queen to h5 or queen to g6. Like, I don't care. I'm not worried about this guy. He's not a threat to me. He's already gotten rid of a lot of pieces that could be threatening. His dark square bishop is a pain in the butt. Temporarily. So, whoop-de-doo. Oh, you took it. What do you want, a medal? I could have taken with the king as well and I could have played king takes f8, rook to f1 check, king g7. But, and that would be good. The only thing is he wouldn't have pre-moved the free knight for me. There's no reason to play c takes d6 because he can't hurt me. He doesn't have enough pieces to mess with me. My dad's rule. He has a dark square bishop. Oh, I just go on the light squares. Your bishop is a ghost. Now, I added the ghost part. But he's a ghost bishop. I'm like, whatever, dude. That ghost bishop doesn't mean squat to me. He's not going to affect e6 at all. So he's got a rook and a knight that can attack e6. Well, good luck with that. So he got greedy and dumb. He thought, oh, I'll double attack his d6 pawn. Ha 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 ha. Oh, crud. You jerk. He'd have been better off to play maybe rook to e1 to skewer my pawn and knight, but I'd take that c3 pawn anyway. But that was my goal, just to see if he takes my pawn. If he goes d takes c5, I would have played knight takes c5. Just really inconveniencing him. So he has to play the cheap shot. Rook to f4. I'm like, dude, I'll just take the free pawn. And he didn't catch the drift that when he takes that, I don't have to retake. I could just harass the bishop. He cannot stay on. He can't stay on the diagonal. b4. I play a5, and then I'll take his stupid pawn again. So his cheap shot maneuver really hurt him. He could have played rook to g5. I'd have played g6. He's got nothing. Cheap shot. I'm like, okay, but I wanted you to see this. Now you can see these moves probably a lot faster and clearer. He just has nothing. I mean, with all three pieces lined up on the second rank, rook d2 was going to be a winning move. Didn't matter what he did. He could move any one of those pieces, but I was still going to play rook to d2. He moves the bishop off, I'm still trading the rooks. He moves the rook off, I check him, he moves it back, and I trade rooks. He moves the king off, which is what he did. I go to d2, and I'm going to forks his two pieces. You got to trade. So hopefully you'll see. I don't like to play super fast chess because one of you will make a dumb move. Fortunately, it was him because he rolled into one of my specially prepared openings that literally, like I said, I've been playing for 40 years. So his blitz moves literally meant nothing to me because it was all book, book type. As far as I'm concerned, it was all book opening. He made a mistake, and I got it. Whatever. So, just thought it'd be fun to show you how not to play, even when you're a really good player. Really good players can try some crazy stuff and get destroyed for unrecommended tactics. You never know if your opponent is a strong player or not a strong player. So, we play these crazy tactics, bad juju is going to happen. I would like to have played a few more moves. I had like 2 minutes and change, and he had, he resigns at 2:27 left on the clock. I'm like, really, dude? I was going to enjoy the beating I was going to put on him and just cash the end game and just make him suffer. So I don't know. It's one of those things that it must have worked for him in the past, but it didn't work today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Like the video, man. Subscribe. I'll talk to you later. 11 and a half.